Good morning, everybody. Barely morning. I'm sneaking in there by just a couple seconds. It is Friday, February 12th, 2021. And this morning, in my reading, I read Numbers 17. Now, Numbers 14, 15, 16, and 17 have an interesting trajectory as they have the nation of Israel at that point, not much of a nation, more of a conglomeration of expatriates, so to say, people trying to find an identity. They have a root story that they're holding on to, but they're grasping. They're trying to figure out who they are and where they belong and if they will be faithful to God. And the book of Numbers is very interesting as it tracks that story. And chapter 17 has this story of basically the affirmation of Aaron and of his call. And everyone's supposed to put their staff out in front of the presence of the Lord, and that the Lord will show who is his by having their staff bud. But this is interesting. Numbers 17 verse 8 says, "The next day Moses entered the tent and saw that Aaron's staff, which represented the tribe of Levi, had not only sprouted but had budded, blossomed, and produced almonds." Now, I point that out mostly because I think it's fascinating. It's amazing. Our Bible does have stories in it that are so incredible, so amazing, that people write off the entirety of Scripture, saying, how could you believe this book whenever you have stories like that? But I want to just pause for a second and really think about just the extraordinary nature of God. Now, God does not promise that if I were to take a staff and put it down in the ground in our church sanctuary that we'd walk in on Sunday and it'd have almonds blossoming and producing on it. That's not at all what this passage is talking about. There's a specific historical context. But think about this. As we're walking into Holy Week in just a little bit, and as we're walking into then Easter, God is the God who's able to bring life from death. He's the God who's able to bring life from brokenness. He's the God who's able to bring life from nothing. As the Genesis account shows, he's able to bring Adam from the dirt, and he's able to bring Eve from Adam. And as we know from biology, God is the God who brings life from another life, and just our what we see with our normal reproduction cycle. But just which is also plays into John 1, which we'll be preaching on this Sunday. But just think about when we are in a situation that looks lifeless, that looks hopeless, that looks desperate. Many times in Scripture, the proclamation is that for those who are faithful to the Lord's calling, he brings forth life in that moment. Whether it be like in Romans 8, where it says that God works together for the good of all things for those who are love him and are called according to his purposes. So not necessarily an immediate in this moment that we see great things happen, but God works things towards good. He reconciles and he redeems. Where many people, part of their testimony is a brokenness that the Lord heals and fixes. Part of 2 Corinthians is Paul says that God uses broken vessels. But then just in this Numbers story, the fact that God is able to show himself so mightily that he takes a staff, a piece of wood, a stick that should have no right of doing anything but getting more wilted, but instead bringing forth fruit on it, which reminds us of John, where those who abide in the true vine are able to produce fruit. So I just want to just give you this encouragement. Be faithful to God. God is always faithful. He is always producing the fruit. And so in this moment, you could be scared. There could be things that you're looking to on the horizon that are intimidating. But Be faithful in the present. The Lord will bring forth the fruit in the life that he desires. So please, have confidence in the Lord. Have confidence in his callings. Don't overstep your boundaries, which is part of what 14 through 17 is all about. People trying to push their way into God's will when God says, no, this is my plan. This is what I'm doing. But again, be encouraged. The Lord doesn't just have the capability of making okay things okayer, but he is the God who can bring life and life abundantly from death. He is capable, he is mighty, he is powerful, and we need to meditate upon him. We need to focus upon him, glorifying him and praising him for who he is and what he can do. We are not deserving of the grace and mercy that he abundantly pours out, but he abundantly pours it out nonetheless and brings forth life and life everlasting.